My name is Elena Volkova, and I will show you several improvements in the tool. I will start with a new option to organize sources in your TC. So this is a sample project, and I have a capsule which is using other classes, and all of the names, they start with red. So I have capsule red. It is using classes red1, red3, and so on. If we click on red1, it is also using other classes. So this is a normal scenario when you have multiple dependencies between classes. So the purpose of this Organize Sources button is to help you to organize your sources. This means we will make an analysis starting from the top capsule and check the sources which are needed to compile the top capsule. One of the common scenarios is when you create a new TC and you just specify the top capsule, and here now you should specify the sources. So this option now will help to do this for you. This is the result of the Organize Sources action, and it contains two tables. The top table is a list of elements which are candidates to be added to your sources list, and the second elements are candidates to be removed. But in our case, we do not have any elements yet, so now we only can add elements. Here you can take a look at the elements that are suggested, and you can use this button, Show Fully Qualified Names, this checkbox, to see full names, to understand where they come from. So, for example, if I want to see this enumeration type, where does it come from? This is the reason, and this is the relationship, so it is a dependency, and this is the element from which this relationship originates. So now it is a dependency from red 04. Now I can check here, go to red 04, I see it is a dependency from red 03. All of these columns, they can be, you can use sorting for the columns. So if you click here, now your elements are sorted. And by the way, now I can see that from red 03, I actually have two elements which are missing and that come from red 03. So if you click once, you have sorted elements. You click again, you have the opposite direction of sorting. And the third time you click, you see the column is not gray anymore. This means that original order, as it is, the elements as they were presented originally, is returned back. Also, if you here, you can sort by the element, and you see that we have two elements that actually come from a different package. This is a lib model, and we do not want this. Maybe we do not want to include elements from other projects because this lib model, it comes from other projects. It's a library project. So we do not want to include them into the sources. Then you have the possibility to uncheck them before pressing this finish. So as soon as you press the finish button, the elements which are checked here, they will be included into your list of sources. Also, there is a possibility to filter out. So if you do not want to, if you want to see only elements from the current project, then you can click here. It says Show Elements from Current Project. And then you will see only the elements that come from current project. But be aware that actually the selection, the checkbox, it is preserved. So if you hide them, then you get them back. You see that the checkbox, it is here. So even if you do not see them, they can be checked. So if you want to exclude them, either you do it manually, or you can do like this. You do select none, then you select show only elements from current project, and then you do select all. In that case, you will select only elements that come from current project. and these two will be deselected. So as soon as I press finish, I see that my elements are added, and these are the elements that are needed to compile my top capsule. So now if I will run build once again, I will see that still I have two missing elements, which we have not added. They are still missing, but they come from library project. So what we can do in that case, if we go to the library and do the same operation here, organize sources, it will actually find nothing, because for library, it does the top capsule is a library, it is self-contained. So it will take only these sources for analysis. And if for these sources there are anything missing which is not included, then it will inform you. But in this case, both elements, they are needed to compile the top capsule. So what can you do in this case? In this case, you can also use the same command, but we also have a menu option that will print the result into the console. Here, it is the same operation and the same information is printed, but it is in console. But one advantage is that you can just copy, and you can go to your library project, and you can paste elements here. So you will add them. Now I save. Now I go check that now I have these two elements here. Now I go back to the top executable, and now I will check. I see organized sources. Now it is fine. It doesn't return any problems. So now I can build, and I will get only the elements required for my red top capsule. Only these elements will be built. So now you see that from the library project, we are building only the needed elements. And here, well, some of the elements were already built in the previous maybe steps, so we're not building everything right now. So this is one scenario. Another common scenario that can be useful is when you, instead of empty list of sources, you have just the top package as a list of sources, in the list of sources. But again, the analysis will start from the top capsule, and not all elements from this top package actually are needed. And if you will optimize your list, then the compilation time will be faster. So I will click Organize Sources again, and now we have a slightly different situation. Now you see that the second table also contains some elements, and actually it contains the top package, which should be removed now because it is replaced with subset of contained elements. So we can see, I again will check this fully qualified name, we can see what are the elements which should be extracted from this top package. This is the list of elements, and you can notice that actually we have a package. So it is not individual elements. It is not only individual elements. If in a package all elements are needed for compiling your top capsule, then a package will be included instead of individual elements. So it makes a small optimization and includes packages instead of individual elements. So the list will be shorter. So now if I press finish, then the package was removed, and the elements were added. Now I can press build again, and well, I maybe should make a clean build next time, because we actually have everything compiled. So I will do clean, and now I will click build again, and we will see that it is compiling fine. Again, it's taken only the necessary resources. We have optimized the list. And the third option that can be useful is if you already have anything. So we have now checked two cases, when the list is empty and when we are using the top package in the list. But what if we already have some elements in the list? So I will now just add some elements and run organize sources again. And now we can see that actually the result is very lots of information. It contains lots of information. So first of all, we are suggesting to remove many things. This reason, it shows you the reason, and if you sort according to the reason, you see that we have 1, 2, 3, so 7 elements which are not needed. It includes a capsule 1, which is not needed, some classes, also an empty package. This is a package which doesn't contain elements, also suggests to be removed. And there were 2 packages which we suggest to replace because we are not using all elements from the packages. So if I see fully qualified names, I see that red MISC, we have only 2 classes. So here we have inserted the classes which are needed. Also, this comes from package 1. And by the way, the top capsule, it should also be present in the list of sources, and we have forgot about it. So now we suggest to include it because it is a top capsule and it was missing before. So I press finish, and now my list of sources is optimized. Also, there is the same function have been added to a model compiler command line. So it is possible to get the same functionality from command line. And now we can check model compiler console, which now we have in the tool. And here you see that organize sources operation, it actually is performed by the model compiler. So this is information about the last task that I was implementing. When you are using it from the tool, we have a model compiler which is running in a server mode, but also you can run model compiler from command line. And here in the console, if I will use word wrap, then you can see the command line. So this is the command line. It is printed also in the console. And this is the new command line option for organize sources. And you can actually do the same operation from command line, and you can do any operation which was done here in the tool. You can go to model compiler console and check this command line options that you can use. Now I go to my console and I will paste this command and I will run it. And now actually it will not find any sources, I think. Oh yeah, it found, because we have not saved what we have here in the tool. We have not saved. You see, we have not saved the file. That's why it actually now is showing us exactly what we have just done from the tool. So you see the output is also contains 2 sections. These are elements to be added, and you can as well copy paste it. And these are elements to be removed. Well, if there are lots of elements to be removed, then this console output maybe is not very convenient. But in general, you can also use console operation for organizing sources. Also, if you will have any problems for example, I will just make a mistake on purpose, and I will try now to organize sources. Then organize sources failed, and here you see a red cross and information that model compiler failed to organize sources. So, and you can go to model compiler console and you can check what is actually the problem. It is printed here. It is a simple textual format, so double click is not supported, but at least you can see what is the problem that we were not able to resolve this prerequisite that was used. So any questions about this new functionality? Okay.
Just a question.
Yeah.
Comparing to the context-sensitive builds that we had before, this is pretty much similar, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It uses the same engine for sources analysis, but here it works only on the current TC. So as I showed you, it does not do anything with prerequisites. So it works only for the current TC. And
okay.
mainly useful when you create a new executable and you want to automatically insert sources, for example, and also it allows you to save permanently. So if you want to have this fixed and you want to avoid this analysis or context-sensitive library builds every time, you can just save it once, do this organization of sources, and then they will be stored in your TC. Okay.
From the performance point of view, when we are building, if we had a large dependency chain and then libraries had to be created for them, and we were, let's say, having threads in the dependent libraries. In this case, you would have to define all the threads in the top executable, isn't it? Would performance be drastically better, and where to check if with this feature we can maybe gain?
No, I don't think that the performance. I think this sources analysis is quite fast. So it even if you do it on the fly every time.
No, but I was more thinking that let's say if we have some top executable that is large. I remember that in the past, one of the reasons to have library dependencies was also argument list too long, that we were getting too many elements in one library in that case. I suppose that would be still the case
yes,
now.
I think
if
so.
you would, yeah.
Yes, because it will include everything into one top executable. But it is possible to do this. So if they are relevantly small, so if you just press organize sources and oh, I made a mistake now. But if you will just press organize sources and you actually can include all elements, including elements from libraries, it's also possible. But then you do not need to have any prerequisites. And then everything will be compiled in the context of the settings for the top TC. And the main problem is, yes, that argument list long. You will get a very long list of arguments.
But for the logical threads definitions, if we have dependent libraries, would it then just use them from the dependent libraries?
For the threads, I'm not sure actually.
Okay,
yes,
we can experiment and try.
Yes, I have not thought about threads. That is probably so. Then you will need so for the threads it is not supported. So this is only organizing sources. But threads, it is a different thing. It's declaration of threads. So then you will need to declare everything here as well. And logical threads also should, all of them should be here also.